Have you ever felt that whisper in your soul calling you to something more, but all the things spinning around in your mind have kept you stuck? Well, what if I told you that choosing excellence could be both easier and more adventurous than you could ever imagine? I am Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, your host of All Things Excellence. I'm a soul catalyst for excellence who leapt off that corporate cliff and left small-town Iowa farm life in my 20s to follow my calling, helping women come home to themselves by anchoring into who they're designed to be. I create sacred containers where women rediscover their truth, design their dream life, and transform those whispers into action. Now you can find me running my business from the soccer sidelines as a coach's wife, hiking my favorite Arizona mountain, or back in Iowa with my family, or on an adventure chasing my next sunrise, hot cup of coffee and journal in hand. Through intimate conversations about the stories, the traumas, and the transformations behind choosing excellence, we're creating a collective healing journey together. I believe in diving deep into personality designs, experimenting boldly, and learning life's greatest lessons through our beautiful chaos. Every week, my guests and I are going to rip down the curtains so you can see behind the scenes of real transformation as we explore what excellence actually looks like. Not just the highlight reel, but that messy middle where the magic happens. Whether you're seeking inspiration to take that leap or already on your journey and craving connection, this is your invitation to join us. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to discover just how close you are to the life your soul is calling you to create. This is All Things Excellence. Hey, All Things Excellence fam, welcome back to the final episode of our Enneagram series. We started with Enneagram in marriage, and here we are, kind of right back where we began. We began with Enneagram and marriage with Kobe, the Enneagram 9, and we are wrapping it up today with Enneagram 9 Marcie, which, thank you so much. I know this is a little bit of a nine's worst nightmare.
Yes, that is very accurate. I'm like, okay, sure. Like, what are we going to do? What do I need to know?
So y'all have to send her all the love. This is a big deal for a 9 to just be doing this, to show up. And there's a lot of things that you could avoid in this. A lot of pain, a lot of discomfort.
Yes.
The idea in general. So it has been so much fun just to visit all the different Enneagram types. And I love that we get to end with 9s. Y'all are my favorite. For a lot of reasons, not just because I'm an 8 who is the challenger and y'all are the peacemakers, and on average you just kind of like go about life. But I always feel, since I knew the Enneagram, I've always felt like Enneagram 9s carry such a peaceful frequency where you just want a hug from them. They probably don't want most people touching them, but I always feel, is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I like hugs from certain people, but not everybody.
Not everybody.
Yeah.
But they are just peaceful. It's like this energetic reset. So we're going to dive in. All right. So Marcie, how did you find the Enneagram? How long ago did you find the Enneagram? You're friends with Anna Marie and I, so
Yeah,
really...
so that's really who introduced me, I would say, to the Enneagram. So honestly, I don't even know how long ago, but
Years.
yeah, years. Yeah, years for sure. So she got into it, she was figuring it out, and then she shared it with me, and then so we were like, okay, what are we, like, all the things. So it was definitely her.
Yes, that you got you into it. Okay,
Yes.
and when knowing her, you probably took a test, read about it, you did all the things about it.
Yes. Took a
Yes.
test. Yep.
How quickly did you realize, oh my gosh, I am absolutely an Enneagram 9?
Yeah, so not quickly actually, because I mistyped originally. So
I love
I,
this.
yeah, I thought I was a three.
I have an obsession with mistyping, so I love this.
Yes. So I thought I was a 3 based off the test and reading, which now all makes sense. You know, I was very much a go-getter, achiever, like achievers in my top 5 and for strengths. And I like, I played Division 1 soccer in college. Like I always,
Wait a minute, what?
yeah.
You played D1 soccer?
Yeah. You
I
didn't
did
know
not know this about you.
that? No. Yeah.
Okay, so I think people think that 9s are just like quiet, lazy people, and I'm like, oh no. Like Kobe has definitely kicks butt and takes names in his specific arena.
Yes.
No way. I did not know this about you. You know, Kobe's love for you just went up
One.
10 points.
Okay, cool. I'll take it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so when nines feel safe and secure in their environment,
right.
they kick butt, they take names, they reflect the best side of a three, which is the achiever,
Yes.
which is what you did. And you were really in a three career environment.
Right. And so with taking the test and being in that environment, like I very much thought I was a three because I was
Mm-hmm.
always like, I want to achieve, I want to succeed, I want to do this. And then it wasn't until reading more about nine too, because as a three, you go to nine, right, in
Yep, and
whatever it's
stress.
called, stress.
Yep.
And
Kind of numb
so
out
I
a
was
little
like,
bit.
ooh, I was like, a lot of this nine stuff sounds like me. But I was like, but I don't feel like I'm like stress. Like
Yeah.
it like because that makes it sound like a bad thing, I guess. I don't know if it
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, an
Yeah, it's so hard
unhealthy
because
to use that, but
it's
I don't
not
know what it is.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So I
kind of
was
God's design, right? I mean, you are stressed. Like it's irrelevant. Like you are
yeah,
stressed. And it does show, it's a great like warning signs when you are stressed. But it's more of like a warning sign. It's more like that. It's more like a yellow light, like, oh hey, watch out.
right. And so the more I was reading about that, I was like, I think maybe I'm more of a nine. Like those make more sense. And then I go to those three aspects in my
Hmm.
strengths and
Hmm.
and all that. So yeah, so that's
Did,
and then it all came together and Coop and like I was like, oh yeah,
yeah,
I'm a nine.
I'm a nine. Uh-huh. Well,
Yeah.
and there were, I believe, at the time as you're going through this, there were probably other people around you who were also typing as a three. And there had to be a piece of you. Obviously, all threes are different, all nines are different, but there had to be a
Yeah.
piece of you that went, okay, what she is motivated by and what I am motivated
Right.
by, like,
Yes. And I feel like there was certain things of a three like that I didn't like. I feel like our threes, they like to be like spotlight or like
yeah, a
not
little
this
bit of the spotlight. I mean, the biggest thing is their whole world kind of rises and falls on the world seeing them as successful.
right.
And I don't
Yeah.
know if you, I just don't know if I've ever thought that you would I don't know if you care that much about what people think.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, I think
Yeah, like the average person, but
right. But it
hmm.
wasn't like I didn't want to be recognized as like, I hated being like the center of attention or like
Hmm.
I would never shout out my successes. Like I would
Hmm.
be very quiet in them and like someone else would
Hmm.
have to recognize me to be like, "Oh yeah, like thanks."
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
like I didn't want to talk like I didn't really care to talk
Yeah,
about
you
it.
didn't need to, you didn't need to see your name on the scoreboard. You didn't need
Right.
to worry about crossing the stage. It didn't, like your sun didn't rise and set on maybe being asked to speak at events in
Yeah.
your job.
No, that was like a night. Like I don't want to be asked.
You're like, actually,
Like let me just sit back and watch and enjoy.
that is actually not fun to me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I feel that when Kobe got an award at like our very last awards ceremony a couple of years ago, I think he loved it so much. Obviously, the
Yeah.
trophy is still sitting in our kitchen years later.
Right.
So he loved it, right? Like
Yes.
his words of affirmation, loved it. But I have to go on stage and receive this was
Yeah.
not, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay,
Agree.
so on that, okay, so I have some friends they're doing like a full moon sound bath pool float thing. And they're like, oh my gosh, you should, and huge group of people is coming. And they were like, you should have Kobe come. And I just started laughing. And they were like, no, seriously. And I'm like, no, that's his worst nightmare. And they were like, well, he doesn't even have to talk to anybody. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's not even the talking part, which is his worst nightmare, having to do small talk to people he doesn't know,
Right. Oh God.
right?
Yeah.
Not fun.
Nightmare.
It's I'm even sitting for an hour in the presence of 25 other people that I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
why he's not going to choose to do that,
Right. That's not like, oh, please and let me do that. It's,
right? You feel that.
yes,
Yes.
very much.
Yes. You're like, I can, but like, do I have to?
Right. Yeah,
Not your ideal fun.
exactly.
No. Do you know your husband's Enneagram type?
Yeah, he's an eight. Yeah. So were you guys backwards?
Right. Yes. Yes, correct. Which I feel like is fun. I always feel like that's like God's design is so good putting an eight and a nine together
For
because a
sure.
nine softens an eight.
Yeah. Hmm.
We need y'all.
Yes.
And every nine needs an eight to send their steak back when they order chicken.
Right. Yeah, we need someone to say things when we're like, no, it's fine.
Yes. Yes.
Don't say
Here's
anything.
something. Okay, tell me what you think about this. I think this is a misconception people think about nines. I hear this a lot where people go, "Oh yeah, nines, they just don't care, right? They're just the peacemakers. They just want peace." And I'm like, "Oh no, 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 no. Do not be they do care
Yeah.
and they do have an opinion. You're probably just not going to say it."
Yes. Yeah. I think for the most part, yeah, we have opinions, of course. We do care about things. And it's more of like, yeah, like I'm gonna listen and I'm like, okay, but like I don't need to state it always. Just gonna
Yes.
listen and
Yeah.
go, hmm.
I think you guys also my baby brother who's 8 years younger than me, his wife is 8.5 years younger than me, and she is also a nine. So my dad is a nine, my husband's a nine, and then my youngest sister-in-law is a nine. And I look back so much now where I'm like, oh my gosh, she was being so sweet and kind to me. I thought she was actually interested. She did not give a shit about what I was talking about, but she was being so.
She's just like, okay.
I
Yeah.
know. And it's their house that I always blow into town and like crash on their couch and throw my suitcase out in their living room. And I'm like, she definitely cares.
Yeah, she probably
Yeah.
cares, but she's not
She
gonna
definitely cares. I'm
say anything.
definitely disrupting her peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
So I feel like with that, the Enneagram has been very helpful because again, it's like I do think you guys you have an opinion, you have a preference. You're just not going to create the friction, right?
Right. Yeah. Don't like friction.
Yes, you don't like friction. And so now her husband, my baby brother, he's a six, which is the loyalist, but they can also be a little doomsday. So now I think I go above and beyond to him, like, are you sure Sam doesn't care?
Yeah.
Like, are you sure it's okay? Or giving them options. I feel like it's really
Right.
good. I don't know, what do you think about, like, I feel like if I give her, would this be better or would that be better?
Yes. Options are like, I love options
You
because
do.
I don't want to like, if someone just asks me something, like, it's very hard to just make a decision. But if I have options, I can choose from them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what comes up for you when you're trying? So here's an example. I would say to her, hey, I'm coming in town this weekend. Like I land Friday at 1. Do you care if I stay? There's that. Well, what's she going to say? No, I don't care. Please swing in and sleep on my couch all weekend and have your suitcase in the middle of the living room.
Yeah. I mean, she's probably not going to be like, no.
No, she's not going to say
Yeah, she's
no.
not going to say no.
But then, especially when the kids got in school, and I knew she was a nine by the time the kids got in school, I started asking her, I'm coming in. It would be like, okay, I'm coming in town on Friday. I'm not going to leave until Tuesday. What nights, obviously, Brinley and Cooper are going to want me to stay there. Like, what nights would be best for me to stay there, and what nights would be best for me to stay somewhere else, just with the kids' school schedule and with everything that's going on? Like, what would be best?
Yeah. I think that's good because then it gives her the option to be like, to say the days that aren't, like, oh, this day
Yeah.
would be great because she knows that's going to work. And that's a nice way of saying no to the other days without actually saying no.
Yeah. And not feeling, because I do feel like one thing that we can do for our nines is I feel like it's, like I feel like I can set it up where you feel less conflict in answering. I feel like that's like a
Yes.
gift.
Yes. Yeah, because we don't like conflict, so like feeling like it's conflict yeah, makes it
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
difficult. Exactly.
I feel it with Kobe. I feel like there's just like random, really, really dumb things. Like yesterday, I just happened to be doing on Monday, I was doing Money Monday.
Hmm.
And so I must have caught it like right after he did it. He like bought a bunch of new stuff, school's clothing stuff from our local company that we do our stuff there. And I was like, bro, like, what do we need 10 new shirts from? Or like, what is this about? For the reference, we have we have so much Chrisman High School clothing that we could clothe an army
Yeah.
for the rest of their life. I'm like, why did you need more? And he was like, oh, Rattler Dates, da, da, da. I was like, okay, like, you know, you want to bring that up? I think you just thought, oh, I'm going to do this when we're on a track because we're getting ready to leave town. I'm like, I think you thought you would catch me on a travel week where I just kind of like laissez faire.
Yeah, didn't notice. Don't bring it up.
Just don't bring it up. Don't bring it up. He's like, I just wanted to be decked out for the new school year. I'm like, okay, cool, cool, cool. Um, So how have you guys found in marriage that space? Like, what did he think? Does he know you're a nine? Is he into,
Yes.
because he
Yeah,
does.
he's not like super into it.
Yeah.
He took the because when we were all doing it, and I was like, okay, we'll take the test, and then I was like, okay, yeah, this completely makes sense. So
Hmm.
he doesn't like know a ton or like he's not super into it, but he understands the
Yeah.
gist, I guess, if that
That's
makes sense.
I feel like Kobe understands it enough. He did go take it to his employees at Orange Theory, and it was very helpful for him. I think as a nine, it was a great tool. That's probably why
Yeah.
he liked it. But did that make sense? Like, did that create any sort of like extra understanding for y'all in your marriage, where you've got one that's super intense and one that's like not?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it helps. Like, he knows, like, it takes me longer to, like, maybe communicate things, or,
Mhm.
yeah, like, if we're in just a discussion or not even an argument, but, either or, where it's like, okay, I need time to, like, process and speak. Whereas, like, he's just like, he's just like going and going, going and going. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just listening because I can't, he
Yeah.
talks a lot, but also it's like, I need time to
Process.
digest and process before
Yeah.
I can maybe communicate.
I think that was one of our biggest things when I realized that Kobe was a nine. I honestly felt really bad because I feel like I'd pressured so many, come on, just make a decision things out of him. And y'all really kind of can't do that. You guys need a minute,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
We need time.
To to make a decision. I'll never
Mhm.
forget my dad, like a year and a half ago when my dad was here, I'd made something for him, some food. And I was like, try, what do you think? And I'm always so excited. And he's like, it's great. All my life, such a mellow, it's great, very quiet.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's good, it's good. I was like, you can hate it. And he was like, "Well, I don't hate it." And I was like, "It's okay in this house to just not like something. It's okay. You should say if you don't like it because then I'm not going to make it for you again. If you're like, "Oh my gosh, I love this," like you need to let me know. I will make this again. But if you're like,
Yeah.
"No, it's just good. I don't prefer it." Like you need to let me know. I go, "In this house like you can not prefer something."
Right.
And he goes, "Oh, well, I suppose I don't prefer it."
Yeah.
Well, then he was just here a few weeks ago, and my sister-in-law loves it. It's a Zupa soup. And my other sister-in-law, and I was like, "Hey, Amber wants me to make that. Like, will you eat it, or would you like me to get you something else?" And he goes, "Oh, that would be fine, I suppose."
I suppose.
I suppose. And I said, "Okay, well, just so you know, Kobe doesn't like it, so he's not going to eat it." And then he
And
goes,
then he goes, okay,
"Well,
well, yeah. If
he
he's
goes,
not
well, if
eating
Kobe
it.
doesn't like it, why are we even having it?" So then
Oh,
I felt like he was on. It's like, well, I might not stand up for myself and say I don't want to have this, but I will stand up for Kobe.
yeah. I find that too. Sometimes I feel like I'll stand up for other people before I will myself, especially if
Yeah.
it's like one of my people,
Yes.
my
Yes.
close
You
knit.
do feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like you'll take the peacemaker end, but you'll stand up for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so how do you feel? Can I ask you how you feel? I didn't even tell you before we started this that if there's ever something you want to cut out, you can. Now everybody knows this.
Okay.
Can I ask you about how does your Enneagram Nine peacemaker feel about this new journey y'all are on?
Yeah.
Y'all are doing a lot. Y'all are building a house,
There's a lot.
and
Got a lot of change over the past year, and it's still happening.
y'all are building a lot of things.
Yeah. Yes, we're building a home. Well, I'm building a baby. I wouldn't say we're, but it helps a little bit, I
Yes.
guess. Um, yeah, so lots of changes. Um, I mean, as I don't know if this is a nine thing or not, but I'm very like go with the flow. So it's nice where it's not like
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily stress me out, like
Yeah.
that there's all the changes and things. Um, I think, with becoming a mom, that's obviously a lot of stuff in its own. Like,
Yeah.
what's going to happen or how's it going to be? Luckily, I have like young nieces that I'm around all the time. So, like, there's not that necessarily worry of like, oh, this is like, I'm not a baby person or I haven't been around babies. So, luckily, my
Hmm.
sister had babies before I did. So that I could, you know,
Yeah.
not be like, oh, I haven't changed a diaper or, things like that.
So
So
you
that's
feel a little bit better, right? Like you feel a little
Yeah, I
prepared.
feel like comfortable. Like I'm actually
Mhm.
this week I'm watching my baby niece. Like they're all in Hawaii and they didn't want to take the 10-month-old. And so I'm watching the 10-month-old all week. She's in daycare during the day, but so it's like I'm comfortable with doing those things. So I know it's different, obviously, as an aunt. Like you can leave, you can give them back. As a
Yes,
parent,
yes.
you will not leave. Like
It
they're
is
with you.
still, yeah, I think that, I mean, I think I see that in Kobe, like the concept of kids. It's like the, in theory, it's so exciting. And then in application, it's, like you're not gonna sleep when you want to sleep. And
Right. Like things are
yeah,
definitely going to change, obviously,
yeah,
right? Not
yeah,
oblivious to that.
yeah.
But luckily, yeah, we're aware of that. And I think, as a nine, I'm like, okay, like I feel like am I gonna have this like mama bear energy come? Like when she's here where it's like I'm more apt to like state my opinion and share my thoughts and
Mhm.
be in that conflict if it's again not about me necessarily, but it's like my child, right?
Yeah, for her.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
bet so.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I
okay.
think so. If not, he is. I'm sure he's stockpiled and ready to go to be
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Definitely.
Okay, so when you are in situations where there's conflict and tension, how do you manage that? Like, what do you do? I mean, I know your tendency, you would love to just head in the sand, right? You'd prefer to
For sure. I
pretend it's
would,
not happening.
yeah, yeah. Dislike comfort, tension, right? Like makes me uncomfortable a lot of the times. So I'd prefer to avoid it. As having a husband that's an eight, he kind of thrives in that environment, I feel like, and
It's
very,
almost, I mean, they say eights, so everyone has a deadly sin, right? Nines is to avoid. Eights is a lust for intensity. Like they have this innate thing in them that makes them want to like rip the mask off and stir the
yeah.
pot.
Yeah. So
You feel
I'm
that?
trying to
So
avoid it.
how do you deal with that tension every day?
I'm trying to avoid it. He's doing that. And I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna sit here and be quiet. Um, but yeah, so I really try to avoid it at all costs. But sometimes, I mean, I think it depends on what it is too, like what situation or what conflict. Like sometimes it's just like, okay, like do I really care? Does this really matter? Like, do I need to make more
Mhm.
tension for something that doesn't affect
Mhm.
me type of
Yeah.
thing? But I think if it's something that I care about, like I'm willing to share my opinion. It's just more of that, like, it's like a soft, quiet type of thing. It's not
Mhm.
aggressive or
Mhm.
anything like that. And I think, especially if it's someone I'm comfortable with, that makes a difference too, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So how have you, so one of the things with a nine they say is that the best development of a nine is realizing that not only does your voice matter, but that you should use it, that people want to hear it because you have all these perspectives that most people don't have. And so what was that journey? You spent over a decade in leadership, like leading other women and helping them grow in their sales skills. What was that like for you, realizing that you have this voice that people don't just want to hear, but they need to hear, and then stepping into that?
Yeah. I think it was hard to realize, like, people cared, I guess, or that they did want to
Yeah.
hear what I
Yeah.
had to say. Just because I always felt like there's always someone better or that could teach you more or do a
Mhm.
better job than like what I was doing or what's capable of. And so it
Mhm.
was like, what does my opinion matter or
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, I think the more I did it and would communicate and share and teach and the more I always got great feedback from people of like, oh,
Mhm.
this was helpful, or I love your, example of this, or, how you approach this. And so it was just realizing like, okay, like I'm helping like people understand it in a different way than they do from hearing it from somebody else. Um, and that it can be beneficial, I guess.
Yeah. Do you feel that? So they would say they put nines at the top of the Enneagram diagram because they say they have this ability to really stand in the shoes of everyone else, that they carry perspective. Like they carry so much perspective. It's not like I'm not saying you agree with all the other types or even that you have empathy for them, but you have perspective going, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with you, but I see where you're coming from.
Yes, totally. I think I'm very good at being able to like listen to everybody's thoughts or opinions or whatever. And I do very much like see all sides even if I don't agree with them, it's very easy for me to listen to someone and be like, oh, okay, like that makes sense,
Yeah.
even if it's not like how I would do it or something.
Yeah. That's what I can say as an 8. I feel like my wing is developed where I can go, I don't agree with you, but I do believe that you believe that.
Yeah.
Like my mom and I noticed with my mom one day, we're having a discussion. I was like, this is impossible to hit this goal. It's
Yeah.
impossible. It's not possible. And she was like, it is possible. I know it's possible. And so said it was possible. And I said, I believe to my core that you both believe that it is. Like, I believe that. Like, I see where you're coming from. And I
Hmm.
do believe that you believe that. I don't agree with you,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I see that for sure.
yeah, I do think that's a little bit of an 8 development. If 8s are listening, like your wing 9 development is that it's getting to that place where, because 8s, you see this with your husband, they stand so strong in their self assurance. It's like, I know who I am, I know what I stand for, I know what I believe, and no one's going to sway me.
Yeah.
And everyone else is an idiot.
Yeah.
Extra emphasis on the everyone else is an idiot.
I mean, yeah.
And I think developing a wing 9, whether you're a 1 or an 8, developing that wing 9 is going, I know what I know and I still believe what I believe. And maybe they're not idiots because I can see where they're coming from. I can see why they think that or believe that or do that or whatever.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think they're right. I'm just saying I can see where they're coming from.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so something that we've been doing on this series is straight out of my Enneagram workbook. We have been talking about the common conflict activators, aka just triggers, like things that trigger the heck out of the different types,
Okay.
and how to get along with them. So, okay, so the wounding childhood message, which does not mean, you guys, the Enneagram does not dictate your childhood, or your childhood doesn't dictate your Enneagram. So what happens in your childhood doesn't make it go like, oh, now you're an Enneagram 9. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
You're born with your Enneagram, and that dictates how you experience your childhood. But do you feel like you experienced that in your childhood where it wasn't necessarily okay to assert yourself? But you're not the oldest.
I'm not. No. So yeah. Sorry, say it again because I
Yeah. So wait, how many siblings do you have?
just one older sister.
One older sister. Like, do you feel like as maybe even the younger sister, you are less likely to assert yourself?
Yeah. Um, yes. And my
Yeah.
sister is definitely more loud than I am. I guess that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And
Way
so
more. She's just more outgoing and
yeah, like just
mhm,
talks
vocal.
more, more vocal.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, so I feel like I was kind of just like not the lesser, but like
Yeah.
just okay and like
You feel like
speak up
I
when
shouldn't
needed.
assert myself. I mean, I see that in Kobe, where it's
Yeah,
not okay to assert myself was kind of his childhood message. But it was kind of, I think he felt like going through his childhood, it was for him, if I assert myself, there's probably going to be conflict, and I don't want to do that. So I'd rather just lay low and keep my opinion to myself.
yeah. Lay low. That's like I
Lay
love to lay
low.
low.
Lay low. Y'all are both babies. Lay them
Yeah.
low. Okay. So common conflict activators, common triggers are any disruption in peace or harmony.
Yes.
Absolutely. Obvious.
Yes.
That one's an obvious one. Okay. Being taken, I think this one will surprise people. Being taken advantage of or told what to do.
Okay. Yeah. Like
You feel that?
yeah.
Okay, let's separate them. Being taken advantage of. And I think being taken advantage of is where I think this happens with 9s is I think people think you don't care.
Right.
And so they overextend she doesn't care. She'll just do whatever.
Right.
She'll say yes,
Yes.
right? You feel that
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And then I think, okay, being told what to do. I've said since day one with Kobe, he is, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I think everybody thinks that I'm the hard one. No, it's him. Like, if we're saying no to something, it's not me saying no, it's him saying no.
Okay.
But he's not going to say no to your faces, but he's absolutely going to say no.
Yeah.
Which is where, like, even the pool float thing, like, I don't, and me going to him and going, we're going to this pool, we're going to this full moon sound bath pool float. We're going. It's on the 11th. That would not fly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like you can ask a nine to do anything, but you really should never tell a nine to do something.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is there a little something in you that goes, that you have a little pushback?
Yeah. Yeah, I think asking over telling for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I will, I mean, if it's something I don't want to do, I'll
Yeah.
find some type of excuse maybe if I don't want to just say no.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah. I mean, Cody
uh,
will push back. He'll go,
yeah,
I'm not doing that.
yeah, like I don't want to do that.
Yeah. And I
Um,
think phrasing is everything with a nine. Like, I can
yeah,
ask him to do anything and I can tell him to do nothing.
yeah,
To the point I've noticed that it's almost like living in the house of a coach where it's like, I can't be like, hey, shut the fridge door. I'd have to be like, hey, can you shut the fridge door?
right. Just adding that
It can,
extra word.
there, it is. Like, I don't know why I think it matters to y'all.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that, do you feel that way as an eight? Because my
No.
husband very much does not like to be told what to do either. So it might not be an eight thing. It's
Yeah.
just a him thing. But
Mm, you know what I'm very on? I get really triggered up by, like, this is a great example. Like, in my direct sales career, my mom will hear about a great idea. And I'll be like, that's a great idea for you. And the next thing I know, she's like flooding my inbox and all of my text messages with all the pieces of the great idea that I should do. And I'm like, I didn't ask you for that. I didn't
yeah,
ask you. So I think mine is I think the nines come from this place of they don't want to be told what to do because it might disrupt their peace. But an eight comes from this place of you don't get to tell me what to do because you're not in control of me.
yes, okay, yeah.
Like,
Because
I don't have to do
you
what
like to
you
be in
tell me to.
control.
Yeah. It's like just because you think that's a great idea for you to execute in your business, that doesn't mean that I need to do that. Like, you don't get to tell me how to run my business.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I think that's the motivator behind it
Yes.
is y'all don't want to be told what to do because now you might have to push back and say, I don't want to.
Right. Which you don't want to have to do, but you might have to.
Right. Yeah. And you're like, okay, so either I'm going to go to this thing that I don't want to do or do this thing that I don't want to do and be mad while I'm doing it or attending it. Or now I'm going to have to create the conflict of being like, actually, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
You feel that?
Yes.
Yeah. Where an eight is like, oh, you don't get to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'm in control of me, not
Yes.
you. Oh, no,
Okay.
no.
Yeah,
Right?
that makes sense.
Yeah, because like an eight doesn't have to be in controlled, but God forbid they feel controlled.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
like that's how I knew I would say I knew my niece was an eight the moment that she was born. She was born with all of her stuff on the outside, and so she had to go into the surgery and then be swaddled really, really tight.
Okay.
And brand new baby, we're talking a couple days old, and she's like wiggling herself out of that, ripping her
Yeah.
cords out. I'm like, brand new fresh baby whose literally guts were on the outside, and she's like, "Oh, you're not swaddling me! Rip these, get me out of here!" I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
Just because she didn't want to be contained.
Right.
Yeah, which a nine was probably a nine would probably been like, this is so great.
Yeah.
Her
This is
brother, on the other hand, lived to feel swaddled and super, super tight in his blankets.
yeah.
Like, he loved the comfort of it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's,
Crazy.
no. Yeah, just a little different.
Yes.
Okay. Another conflict activator, being overlooked or ignored. But maybe not chosen for something. Like, how does it feel for you to not be chosen for something when you know that you should be, you qualify? Like,
Right. Yeah.
how does that feel?
That's not good. Yeah. They don't realize oh, you do have these qualities or you are
Hmm.
good for that, but you're just not being chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels good to be considered and asked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though, and here's another thing, I think people can go with a nine and go, they don't care. They don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to be considered. And I think I catch myself saying to Kobe a lot, hey, I know you probably don't want to, but,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm. Yeah,
You
like
want the
that.
option.
Right. With the option. Like, if you don't think I want to, I think it's good to state that, but be like, I want to include you, or I want to
Yeah.
give you the choice.
Yeah, give you the choice. Like give you the option to be able to do it.
Right.
Okay. Another one, being directly confronted.
Oh, God. Don't do it.
Are you getting hives just talking about being confronted?
Like, what do you want to talk about? Like, no, thanks.
I think that this is a very, maybe you get this with your husband. I think that the first decade of Kobe and I's relationship, he just had nonstop hives because I can walk in the room and be like, okay, we need to talk.
Okay.
And it might just be about what are we doing this weekend? Because I need to start thinking about groceries and meal prepping, you know? But it sounded
Yeah.
like we need to
You
talk. Oh
talk.
my gosh, are we getting a divorce?
Yeah, like, okay, what's wrong? What happened? Go to,
Because
yeah,
immediately,
yeah,
do
you
you
go
feel
to this
that?
like bad place of like, well, what do we need to talk about? Like, not, oh, groceries. Okay, that's like, I can talk about that. That's fine.
So when a nine is in stress, they tend to reflect that more mid to lower health side of a six, which can kind of doomsday spiral. Nothing's ever going to get better. Yeah, doomsday spiral. Like, do you feel
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Being in
Mm-hmm.
stress and being like, yeah, anxious and
Mm-hmm.
defensive or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Anxious, defensive, spiraling. It's all going to hell in a handbasket and it's never going to get better.
yeah,
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah. Do you feel that? Do you get overwhelmed by the idea of how much responsibility something might be and then doomsday on that?
With certain things, I think, yeah, like, oh, that's a lot to take on. And then, oh, what if I can't do it? And then everything goes downhill and yeah, and then you spiral.
I think I watched Kobe avoid positions and things in his life where it's, you know what I mean? Even now being head of the soccer program,
Yeah.
I had to really walk him through being okay with that level of responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause having too, yeah, it's like almost scary to have all that responsibility
And
and
what
not.
goes with that? Like, what goes with it? Is it, am I going to be capable? It's taking so much energy. Like, what really comes up for y'all that
Yeah.
makes you go,
I think, yeah, I think it's like, am I capable of handling that and doing it well enough to not mess it up or, yeah, cause harm instead of good things?
yeah, I love that. Okay. Yesterday, I took Kobe's Enneagram 9 and I gave him a list of 10 things that make him a great coach and 10 things about being a 9 that make it trickier for him being a coach. And he got the good 10 first. And he was like, most of those are right on brand. Some of them are just don't seem a little off. And then I sent him the 10, like basically when you're in stress, who you're being as a coach. And he was like, okay, all right, well, I feel attacked.
It's like, yeah, okay.
And I
Give me a
do,
break.
one of them was about basically, you know, it's like, I think he gets in this place where the team is really not going to win a game. And it's just everybody's making so many mistakes. And I, I don't know if you experience this. I feel like it's harder for him to stop in that moment, take a breath, and regroup and figure out how to go after the win.
Right. Like being able to take that time to like shift and pause and be like, okay,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Well, especially
Just
in
go from
soccer,
there.
which I feel like you get. There's no timeouts in soccer, man.
Right. It's just, I mean, you got halftime, but
That's
that's
it.
about it. That's it.
Yeah, other than that, like if you're losing in the second half and it is just going worse and worse and worse, there is no timeout to be able to just stop and gather your breath and so I think like for him, he can get over in that six and just get frustrated and then I feel it's almost like do you ever get that where you get so overwhelmed with how things aren't going your way that do you just shut down and numb out?
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, it's like, okay, well, this isn't working. So I'm just going to disconnect and cocoon and see what happens.
Even though I'm the leader, I'm actually going to disconnect cocoon and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll just see. Maybe they can figure it out.
This is so real though for a nine, right?
Yeah. very much.
It is. It is. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, this last activator, which is hysterical because of who you married. Seeing someone be rude, insensitive, and harsh to others.
Oh, yeah, that's hard.
How do you like what happens? Like how do you feel? Like do you just want to run away from it? Do you want to what do you want to do when that happens when you experience that?
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, like I don't want to be here. Like I don't want to watch this or I don't want to see it. Or yeah, like do I apologize? Do I like
You're apologizing for the other person. That's right, what you're saying, right? You're
yeah,
not being rude and harsh, but you want to
no,
apologize on their
right. Like,
yeah,
oh,
you're like,
maybe we
I'm going
shouldn't
to
see it that
apologize
way
right
or
now.
like let's, you know,
Yeah.
reword things here.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what is your favorite numb of choice?
Oh,
We know you want a cocoon mode. Do you literally just like shut down? Like, do you Netflix? Do you
yeah, probably Netflix. Like just
Netflix?
sit on the couch,
Yeah,
watch a good show,
yeah.
maybe have a
Pretend
snack.
the world isn't happening.
Yeah.
I watch
Yes.
Kobe do that with video games. Like, he just,
Okay.
it's like when he gets so frustrated at life, he just needs to numb out, shut down, play video games. And he always says, I just need to get a win. I need to get a win. Like, he needs to feel,
Yeah. Feel good.
yeah, feel good, a success somewhere in his life.
Yes.
Okay, so how to get along with a nine. I may be slower than you, so please don't rush me and be patient
Yes. That's
in
so,
everything.
yeah, that's like so true. It's very, yeah, our pace is slower, so you need to definitely be patient, which I know can be hard for people or certain types or whatever. So knowing that it just takes us more time for those
I
things.
think to do anything, I think like
Yeah.
making decisions, having conversations.
Yeah, it really is like all aspects.
Yeah, I notice that. I notice it differently with my dad and my husband and my sister-in-law. They all, I think they all execute that need for space differently, but they all absolutely need the space.
Yeah. Right.
I always feel bad for my dad because he's this nine who lived in a house with an eight, a six, a seven, and a three. And that's just a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot.
It's just a lot of opinions and energy and anxiety and a
Yeah.
lot of aloneness. I know. I know. We all have like our childhood thing, and my thing is like, oh, my dad was actually never really around. Like, he was always like out farming, like out on the farm farming and
Yeah.
like doing the things. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh, he was nining. That's what he was really doing. I think us three kids made him crazy and stressed him out. So he would just go nine.
I'm gonna go into this peaceful place for me where yeah, I don't have to deal with all of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I always think that so seven's need is to avoid pain and nine's need is to avoid. And then their firstborn child was an eight. And I think I'm still just that wrecking ball
Yeah.
between them. So, yeah. Then you're like, I married a wrecking ball. Here we go.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. But the biggest thing with nines roll is I think it's you. I feel like personally that I have to consciously create this space for y'all to step into because y'all aren't really going to put yourself in there.
Right. We need this, like we need a safe space to be able to feel like we can share or make decisions or whatever it is.
Right. But the space has to be kind of created for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Otherwise you're not going to just demand it ever.
Yeah. No.
No. I will tell you, everybody, that I did this now so well over the last 8 years that we've known the Enneagram that I tease Kobe. Sometimes I wish he was still so passive.
You're like, really? Do you have to have an
Yeah,
opinion on that?
I know. He feels so good and he has so much space.
Yeah.
And I think now, like, he's also aware that I have so many tools. So even if I get a little unhinged, he can make comments about, like, having the tools and needing to check my own self. And then,
Right.
yeah, sometimes I know. Go back and give him a little less space in the room. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I know he takes it all now. Takes all he wants. He takes all he wants. At least in this room. But I notice in others, he
Yeah.
does have to like re-exercise that.
Right.
Yeah. I would say with his family, like we're getting ready to go back to Iowa, I think he tends to lean more on like the avoidance train
Okay.
just because it's easier. I think
Yeah.
like his family is very loud and aggressive, and so I think it's easier for him to do the avoidance train.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Happens.
feel that like there are some spaces where you're like I
Yeah.
got this and some
Yeah. Some it's like I'd rather, yeah, avoid and whatever. And then
Mhm.
others, yeah, other spaces it's like, okay, I can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I see that. My gosh. Okay, I see so much. My sister-in-law Sam has so much of the exact like Enneagram 9 demeanor as you. And so I just think like, oh my gosh, like I can't even believe she married into us. I'm
Yeah.
the rest of us are just loud and crazy. I don't know, maybe she looked to Kobe and they were like, like I don't know, he's making
Yeah.
it.
He figured it out. So we'll see.
Okay, so here's another one that I do a terrible job of with Kobe. Listen to me until I finish talking. Do you agree that y'all's stories are take a little longer? They're a little slower?
Yeah, they're definitely slower. Like it takes us longer to get to maybe the point we're trying to make.
Hmm.
Um, so sometimes, yeah, you can, it's like, oh, the other person wants to like interrupt or like go off on something you first said, but you're like, wait, I'm not done yet. Like, let me
Hmm. Hmm.
finish.
Okay, and tell the people, how does it feel when you get your story interrupted?
I mean, not good, because then you're like, I didn't get to what I was trying to actually say before you interrupted me.
And it takes so much for you to be able, it takes a lot for you to go, I'm actually going to tell this whole
I'm
story.
actually gonna like, yeah, I'm actually gonna share this. And so then if you interrupt me, it's like, it puts me back in that, like, now I want to, yeah, avoid or hide or not share.
Yeah, I want a cocoon because I've already went through this whole thing of nobody cares about my voice doesn't matter thing.
Right.
And I did the work to be able to step into it and now you're interrupting me and what your actions are telling me you don't care.
Yeah. It's like I stepped into this uncomfortability to like actually share and then you interrupt and it makes me, yeah, feel like it doesn't matter.
Hmm. I'm super bad at that with Kobe. Like super bad. But sometimes I'm like, can you just give me the cliff notes? And then he'll go, and then I give you the cliff notes, and then you interrupt me the whole time because you have so many questions. So if I would not give you the cliff notes story, then I would just get it all done. And I'm like,
Like,
she
yeah.
can't win.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
find sometimes my husband will like, yeah, interject and then he'll like start and then I'll be like, oh, so sorry, like I know you're not done. Or like, so he's like, he's trying, but then he's like trying to talk and get in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I really try. And sometimes I just get like my wing seven just gets so distracted. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right. You're telling a story. Woo, bring me back now. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I do want to read this for nine. So the behavior tendencies when activated, when triggered up, you'll withdraw, you say nothing, and you don't show how you're feeling on the inside. Do you feel like that's valid?
Yeah.
Like your people might not know that it actually hurt you.
Right. Like I think, I don't know if it's a not, like we're very good at just hiding or, yeah, and being like, we're good, but really inside it's like,
Yeah.
there's something there.
Like if I
Yeah.
interrupt your story, you're not gonna be like, dude, I'm telling a story. You're just gonna be like, okay, I guess she doesn't care about my story.
Yeah.
You're more likely to do that.
More likely. Yeah. I mean,
More
there's probably certain people that'd be like, hey, I'm not done.
likely. Hmm.
But like majority, yeah, wouldn't.
Uh-huh. Okay, so it says they'll be unaware of their anger and strategies to protect themselves. I feel that I can tell when Kobe's upset and angry before he can.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it,
Yeah, I find my husband sometime he'll be like, okay, he's like, what's wrong? Or like, what's going on? Like he can tell there's something bothering me or whatever, but like it's almost that like I need him to make the space for me to then share without
mm,
just
yeah,
doing it myself, I guess.
yeah. Yeah. It's like you want to avoid anything rocking your boat so much, you even
Yeah.
avoid your own emotions.
Right.
Do you feel that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things is may display anger and frustration toward another person not involved in the original conflict. And I do feel like something crazy can happen at the school, and Kobe comes home, and I'm like, whoa, being a little bit of an a-hole. What happened today? Nothing. I'm fine.
Yeah.
You're not fine.
Right. Something happened.
Yeah, you're not fine. And I sure as heck didn't do it. So
You're taking it out on
let's,
me. It wasn't me who did it.
it wasn't me. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, we need to walk through your day here, and we need
Yeah.
to go find
Figure out
what
what.
was that place.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like sometimes we really have to recall the day. And then he gets that and goes like, "Oh yeah, that did happen." And
Yeah. And
then we're mad.
yeah.
Do you ever feel that? Like it, you have to almost help a little
Well,
help recalling it and then
right.
processing
Because
it?
it's like you think, because yeah, I feel like sometimes it's like you almost think it's something else, but then it's like, oh, this is actually the underlying reason of what's bringing up the emotions. And then like this is just happening because of that.
Yeah. 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 Do you Okay, so this might be a me thing as an 8. I feel like if you're married to an 8, anybody, or have a friend with an 8, I feel like one of my challenge or to a 9, to a 9, to a 9. If you're married to a 9 or friends with a 9, I do feel like one of my challenges with that is I know how I can take on everything and it's so much more challenging for him. Like, did your husband do that where he tries to honestly like handle all the things before ever even talking to you about anything that might be going on?
Mm. Yeah. I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just trying to do it all.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. I feel like that's a place that I'm still trying to figure out, I think, with Kobe is that fine balance of, it's like y'all are adults and like if something's stressful, you guys have to know about everything stressful as well. But then also just, I don't know, I do feel like y'all can get overwhelmed and your plate full easier than at least 8s. All right, well, thank you so much. I know it was your favorite thing to just
you're
get on
welcome.
here and talk about all things 9, being a 9, how awkward things are for you, figuring
Yeah.
it out, finding your voice,
All the things. Yes. Thank
all
you.
the things.
Thanks for asking me.
Yes. I know. I actually reached out to Coop and said, I don't want to ask her if you think it would be an absolute no, but do you think that she would be willing? Because I think that she would be so great. But
Yeah.
again, I don't. I want her to really feel like she can say no. And she was like, "Oh no, I think she would."
Yeah. I was like, yeah,
Yes.
I'll do
So
it.
I do feel like that for some of my 9s. I want to make sure, like, really legitimately, it's
Right.
okay if you say
Give permission to say no, but
yes,
yeah.
yes, give all of that permission. So, okay, so something that we have been doing on every single Enneagram episode is that we have been closing out with 2 things. And the first one is, what advice do you have for those with an Enneagram 9 in their life?
Yeah. So I think the advice I would give is to be patient with the pace of a nine. Um, just because all the stuff we've been talking about, we're slower in all the areas. So being patient with us, and just encouraging the nines in your life to share, give them that like safe space to do so, open up the space to encourage them to share and just reassuring them that it's a safe space to do so and that, yeah.
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 Because in the pace, I notice that Kobe might tell a story slower. I think he eats slower. He takes longer to get ready in the morning. He works out slower.
All the
Walks through
things.
the grocery store slower.
That's hilarious.
I know. It's the tiny little places where I have to give
Yeah,
him.
that's funny. I would say I'm like a fast-paced walker.
You are.
Um, but I think that's how I grew up. My dad was like quick walker, and it's like if you didn't keep up, you were left behind. So I think that's why I'm a fast-paced walker.
But other than that, you love all the time in the world to be able to get ready slow in the morning.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, yes. Okay. And then in closing, what permission would you love to give your fellow 9s?
Yeah, I think the permission is take permission to take up space, and don't you don't have to agree with everyone to be like accepted. Like you can have your own opinions and everything, and that doesn't mean that you're not going to be accepted or liked or, valued just because you don't agree.
Yeah. And it won't always rock the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like having a different opinion won't always create
Chaos or
chaos.
conflict.
Conflict. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for just coming on here. I know. Extra vulnerability hangover for you today.
For sure. I got all my brain power, all my energy for the day. I was like, okay, I gotta do this. And then, now I can relax.
She gave her all. She gave her all today, guys. She exerted a lot to do this. And any Enneagram 9 is like, yes, oh my gosh, now I absolutely need a nap. I have a friend who's a 9, and her kids are a little bit younger than me, so she's like a super adult 9.
Yeah.
And I asked her one time when we were really learning the Enneagram years ago, I said, do you is this like a Kobe problem, or like do you legitimately get to the end of the day and you're almost too tired to give your husband attention? And she said, oh my gosh, sometimes I get to the end of the day and I don't even have the energy to clean up after dinner, let alone give him attention after dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm like, I'm tired. And my husband's like, well, what did you do today? Like, why are you so tired? Even though, he's like working hard. He's building our home. He's like doing a million things. And he's like, you're tired. I'm like, well, but now I'm like, well, I'm growing a baby. So yeah, I grew organs today. So I'm tired.
That's what I did today. I grew it from an apple seed to a date seed today.
Yeah.
That's actually what I did
Exactly.
today.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do feel that. That was one thing I actually just remembered, like as we were closing, about our 9s. And I think that that's the good design of God, is that then he surrounds them with people that have more bandwidth and more capacity, and then just loving y'all where you're at and loving you guys for what you do bring. You guys help us be present. You help us slow down. You help us notice things. I don't know if I would have ever really learned how to like breathe and take a break if I wasn't around Kobe and married him and forced to actually just sit on the couch and watch a movie and enjoy it and not fall asleep.
Yeah. That's very hard for my husband to just like sit. He has to always be doing something.
Yeah, the first couple of years we dated, he loves just relaxing and watching movies, and every time we would do it, I would fall asleep. Like before the intro credits. I never would make it. I would never make it to the movie, because if I wasn't moving, I was sleeping.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Absolutely. So you guys do that for us. You guys bring all that into our life. So, all right, All Things Excellence fam, thank you so much for coming along with us on this Enneagram series. It has been so fun. Overwhelming amount of fun responses that I've been receiving from all y'all on all the places, from email to social media and beyond, just about how much you've enjoyed meeting all of our guests. Thank you to our guests who all jumped on here and gave a huge vulnerability hangover, talking about what it's like to be that Enneagram type, interacting with the rest of us who are not, especially our 9s interacting with our 8s. We love you guys. You guys are the best. So, all right. Next week, we are bringing one final episode on Wednesday, and then we are going on a little summer sabbatical, and we'll be coming back in August. I know. So squeeze all the juice out of life for the summer. You guys enjoy all of it. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you back here next week, and then we'll see you back in August. Thanks again. Thanks for listening to All Things Excellence. If something landed with you today, I'd love for you to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women find these transformational conversations. And if you're ready for support with your next step, or needing someone to stand in the gap with you to figure out what that even is, I'd love to create that space for you. And my intro clarity call is a great place to start, because life is too quick and too full to have to figure it out alone. Until next time, All Things Excellence fam, thank you for listening.